And I got to thank this man here because he ended my exile from radio. 4.5 years. I was on the air for 31 years, consistently every year. Did radio, highest rated shows. And a lot of people have exiled me because I don't really have any guardrails. And he brought me up last night and we had a great conversation. And I want to thank him. There's Marcus Hayes from the Philadelphia Inquirer. We had a great conversation last night. And thank you, Marcus. I had a fun time with you last night, man. It was really great.
It was my pleasure, and I mean, I don't know if your audience knows the catalyst of your exiles, but I will say this, and you may put me off the show. You earned your exiles.
I did,
and you've owned them. You've owned them, and you haven't repeated them.
Nope.
So and I don't ask permission to have people on my shows when I have them. I figure if you don't want me to have somebody on my show, you'll tell me beforehand, right? So, and you were a spectacular. I mean, you're a pro. You're one of the originals, so you know what you're doing. So it was my benefit that you came on the show. But your knowledge about the league and your knowledge about football and your involvement, you're very well connected. Your involvement to this day with people who are making decisions and setting policy, and your gift is it's funny because you're a defensive lineman, right?
Yeah.
Defensive linemen are usually the dumbest and most stubborn people in all of sports.
Yes.
Because your entire like ethos is running through walls, right? Getting to people and hurting them. That's it. That's what you do. You're infantry. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I mean, cavalry. You're the infantry. So, but your gift as a defensive, I mean, despite being a defensive lineman and you were a good defensive lineman, you're a successful defensive lineman. So your gift is sort of evolving, which again, given your not so distant past, it's not universal, but it's not impossible. But in the context I'm talking about is you evolving with the game and understanding the business of the game and the strategies and the flaws in the strategies. No one in America was happier that Saquon Barkley did what he did this year than you were.
Yep.
Because you do not believe that the run game should be abandoned. And there's an entire generation of you, and me to a degree, that understands the value of a Marshall Faulk over Jamar Chase. So that said, your value to someone like me who hosts a radio show occasionally in a football crazy market and is very attuned to everything going on in college and pro football is massive because you're really kind of a unicorn, like Hugh Douglas and Ike Reese are radio hosts here in town, but they don't have the chops that you have. They're not you. You know what I'm saying? They're not you. John Ritchie is not you. You have the capacity to understand, and you have the hunger to sort of understand and research all of the super nerdy football stuff that is your ilk. So thank you for coming on. I think you're a wonderful resource, and I think your exile from a huge liberal who's pretty lefty. I think your exile and your exile should end. Your rehabilitation is complete.